Welcome to your longest running Australian pro wrestling podcast, Wrestle Radio Australia. My name is Lachlan Albert, and we are here before the PWL Wrestling Super Show featuring Renegades of Wrestling. I got the one and only Dark Horse, Zeke Andino. How are you, mate?
What's going on? Thank you for having me.
So, I just spoke to one of your opponents tonight. You're in the main event for the Australian Wrestling Super Show, right? How does that feel to be kind of that representative for Australian wrestling here tonight with, you know, potentially AEW fans coming from all over the country to see what's going on?
Yeah, it's a shock at first, given you see what the card is, and that's what makes it also an honor, you know, and I've always thrived on that pressure. Nervous all day, and also like the weeks leading up, and you think, oh my God, why do I do this? But then the moment you rock up to the venue, that's when that competitiveness like sort of, you know, creeps in, and you're like, this is what I was born to do. This is what I've loved for 20 years. This is what I've pursued for 8+ years. I want this moment, and I'm going to kill it.
Absolutely, man. And we know that there's kind of hunger for you to kill it, not just in Australia, but overseas as well. We've seen the signs at AEW asking for you to get booked. We've seen tour extensions in Japan. Like, how much hope do you have for international wrestling in your future?
Oh, a lot, man, because that's all I've ever dreamed of. So it's definitely a grind, you know, 8 years in. But you look at some of the best, and they don't get their breaks till their 30s, you know. So it's genuinely just not giving up. I'm on an upwards trajectory. Obviously, there's ups and downs, and you go up and you come down a bit, then you go back up. But I'll never stop believing, and I'll never give up on myself. I betted on myself to start this journey. I betted on myself to go overseas to America a few times, New Zealand, Japan, and I'm going to continue to bet on myself, and I will make it. It's just a matter of time.
That's fantastic. I want to talk about what it looks like to be wrestling here in Queensland, because obviously Pro Wrestling League, we've seen you put on some absolutely stellar performances, but it just feels like gold has been that little bit out of reach for you, right?
Yeah.
So like, how does that bring you down, or does that kind of grow the hunger?
No, it grows the hunger for sure. You know, I've had success in other promotions like IPW on the Gold Coast, UPW, Tassie and all that. But it's taken me a while to find my footing in the Brizzy scene. You know, before PWL was known as PWL, I was a young pup in the grindhouse, you know, and I was definitely lost for many years. And then I came to PWL, I got the opportunities I wanted. Sometimes I succeeded, other times others got the best of me. But I feel these past few months, these past few shows in Brizzy, I've started to find my footing. That those Japan tours, I got so much confidence from that, you know. So when I came back home, I felt like I was on another level, and I felt like I deserved to be in a better spot. And I feel like that's showing it. And obviously, given the position I'm in tonight, you know.
And I mean, I don't want to mince words. You're going to be in the ring with Robbie Eagles, who's maybe like easily one of the best talents Australia has ever produced.
100%,
right?
Yep.
Like he's going on to have a Ring of Honor title match tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So what's kind of the thoughts going through your head? You've mentioned you were feeling nervous.
Yeah.
Like, what's the lead into a big match like that?
Yeah, it is nerves. It's a lot of study. It's no different to any other opponent that I have. Like, I watch tape, I study, I see what they do best, I see where their weaknesses are. And Robbie's no different. It makes it easier, if anything, because of the amount of tape study there is on him. But there's no denying that he's a legend of the game, especially Australia in general. So to step in the ring and stand, you know, face to face with him is an honor. But I'm not going to let him, you know, kind of scare me off. Like, I'm here to make a name for myself now, and he calls himself the gatekeeper, and I'm willing to, you know, open those gates and go through them.
That's what we love to hear. And, you know, you've gone by that moniker of the Dark Horse.
Yep.
You know, there is, I guess, that little bit of, like we've talked about with some Queensland wrestlers, that idea that you're not seen, you don't have as much of the name as maybe some of those guys who are out there a little bit more, right? So obviously there's hunger that comes with that.
Yep.
What do you think over the next couple of years, what are going to be the tentpole moments that you are active? Like, obviously you want to go overseas, you want to have more of those big matches. Is there anything here in Australia that you desperately, like, that's the thing I want, a match with them or a win on that? Or
there'd be a few, man. The list would go on, but it's making a name for myself in PWA, MCW, those bigger companies, EPW, Rampage, and all that stuff. The list goes on. Wrestling, I mean, I'm ticking off Robbie tonight. You got Adam Brooks, who's just a legend of the game. You got Slex, you got Damian Slater, you got Istria, you got Tommy Knight, who's coming up, and we crossed paths in Japan. We never wrestled, but you know, like there's so many. The list goes on, and that's personal of me. But then to see like your fellow, you know, your sort of teammates like Moko and Tora and Eugenie's been killing it in those promotions. So that just inspires me. But that's, yeah, personally, I want to expand interstate a bit more. But I mean, yeah, I want to expand interstate, but obviously Queensland's home, and maybe talking, you know, you single out like, oh, why no Queensland and all that. Maybe we just need to stop that, because you don't see Victoria doing, or Melbourne doing that. You know, you don't see New South Wales doing that. They're not saying, how about us? Like, they just go and do it. So maybe tonight's the night we go do it, and we continue on with that, you know, that progress that we've had, and, you know, just keep the momentum going.
That's an awesome mindset to have. Zeke, Andino, Dark Horse, it's been a pleasure, mate.
Thank you for having me.
We'll catch
I appreciate
you next
it.
time, mate.
See you later.